Channel 1 coming to live from the broadcasting house in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. Now, join us for the next half an hour or so for news within and, of course, across the country. My name is Giverson Minor. Now, the Kenyan government says it is yet to locate the body of John Ogutu, the Kenyan teacher who was shot and killed at the height of post-election violence in Tanzania. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi says Ogutu died at the Goba Center in Ubungo district of Dar es Salaam. 8 other Kenyans who had been arrested and detained in police stations across Tanzania have, however, been released. Pressure has been mounting on the government to address the disappearance of Kenyans abroad, including those said to have been trafficked to fight alongside Russian forces in Ukraine.
After weeks of Kenyans asking the whereabouts of their loved ones who have fallen victim to the Russia-Ukraine war, the deadly protests in Tanzania, and the human trafficking reports of Kenyans in Southeast Asia.
The situation is so dire that our missions are constantly rescuing citizens.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has now confirmed that a Kenyan died during Tanzania's general election on the 29th of October 2025, with 8 arrested.
8 Kenyans arrested in different police stations across Tanzania have now been released. 3 Kenyans are still being held, 2 in Arusha and 1 in Dar es Salaam police station. A Kenyan by the name John Ogutu was shot dead on 29th October at around 7 p.m. in Goba Center, Ubungo district in Dar es Salaam. His body has not been traced to date.
On the Russia-Ukraine war, Musalia noted that the administration is in talks with Russia and Ukraine to ensure the Kenyans who are taken to the front line of the war are repatriated back to the country.
It is estimated that recruitment networks are still active in both Kenya and Russia. The Kenyan embassy in Moscow has reported injuries among nationals and others stranded.
There is no prohibition against a non-national to serve within the Russian military if they do so voluntarily.
Musalia says intelligence sources have indicated that victims of the war are reportedly signing contracts with unscrupulous agencies with the promises of a payment of up to $18,000, which is 2.7 million Kenyan shillings for visas, travel and accommodation.
It is our knowledge and our understanding that some Kenyans who are on the front lines serving as part of the Russian military were apprehended and are being held as prisoners of war.
Further, the Foreign Affairs CS notes that the human trafficking situation in Southeast Asia, particularly for Kenyans, is concerning and largely driven by the rise of forced criminality in online scam compounds,
including forced labor, online scamming, illegal cryptocurrency trade, and even the horrific prospect of human organ harvesting.
The ministry has further downplayed President Yoweri Museveni's remarks that activist Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo were kept in a fridge during their 38 days of detention in Uganda.
It is my belief that President Museveni was speaking metaphorically rather than to suggest that there was anything that was done in the manner in which he described it.
And away from that, President William Ruto has launched a full-throttle charm offensive in Ukambani region, unveiling a record 13 billion Kenyan shillings development package in Makueni County, and urging the region to abandon opposition politics. Speaking on his first day of his walking tour in the region, Ruto declared that Ukambani must be part of his government's progressive agenda. Take a look.
Makueni County was the first stop in the 4-day working tour of a president in the larger Ukambani region. The head of state said the region must outgrow the opposition tag.
Hii Ukambani haitabaki nyuma tena going forward. Na nataka tena msikie vizuri. Sio ya kwamba haitabaki nyuma peke yake wakati huu, hata hiyo wakati ingine serikali haiwezi kuundwa. Mimi siwezi kuunda serikali inayofuata bila ya watu wa Ukambani.
As an expression of his interest in working with the region, Ruto announced a 2 billion allocation towards power connectivity in the county.
Na tunataka kuunganisha nyumba 18,000 mpya between now and June next year. Kati ya sasa na mwezi wa 6 mwaka ujao, tunataka kuunganisha wananchi wa Makueni 18,000 kwa mambo ya stima. Ndio tuweze kulete mwangaza sehemu hii, ama mnatakaje watu wa Ukambani?
The president also unveiled an 11 billion shillings investment to be directed to the affordable housing project, the construction of markets and hostels.
We are committing 11 billion shillings to construct affordable housing, to do markets, to do hostels in Makueni County, the first ever done by any administration in independent Kenya, because we want Makueni to be part of the development of our nation.
Agenda za hapa ni 3 kama zile zako: KU, maji, water.
Ruto also took a swipe at the opposition once more, accusing them of running a campaign premised on tribalism and malice.
Mtu anachaguliwa kwa ile kazi amefanya, ama anachaguliwa kwa sura yake? Mtu anachaguliwa kwa sababu gani? Kwa sura ama kwa kazi? Kwa sura ama kwa kazi? Kwa fitina ama kwa kazi? Kwa chuki ama kwa kazi? Kwa ukabila ama kwa kazi? Si kila kiongozi anachaguliwa kwa kazi.
Wale wanashindana na sisi, mupunguze mambo ya ukabila na chuki na kisirani, tuongee mambo ya sera. Sisi tukiongea mambo ya stima na barabara na masoko, na nyinyi mkuje muongee sera yenu. Wacheni kuleta chuki, ukabila na kisirani kwa wananchi.
Kwa muda mrefu Mheshimiwa Rais, tumedanganywa. Tunaambiwa ati tukae ngumu, ati itakuwa nzuri hapo mbele. Sisi tunasema tutaki mambo kukaa ngumu. Tumechoka na siasa ya umaskini, tunataka siasa ya maendeleo.
The president launched the Mikuyu Bridge and issued title deeds in Kasikeu and Emali, and also inspected the ongoing construction of roads and the affordable housing project in Wote, Makueni County. As the clock ticks towards the 2027 general elections, President William Ruto says the choices for 2027 are clear. He says the opposition represents the retrogressive force, while he says he's the only progressive voice in the race.
Now, away from that, of course, President William Ruto is expected to remain in the Ukambani region for even today. Yesterday, that was in Makueni County, and today he's also expected in Kitui County. And he'll be, of course, commissioning the construction of roads, bridges, and, of course, rural electrification, among other projects. And now, let's move on. The government has defended its move to commercialize the National Youth Service, saying a training of paramilitary and vocational for the youth can no longer depend entirely on exchequer financing. Cabinet Secretary for Public Service Geoffrey Ruku, while appearing before the Senate on Wednesday, said the current training of youth at the institution costs 10 billion shillings annually, saying the initiative will help cut costs by 4 billion shillings if well implemented. However, senators raised concerns about the initiative's viability and its justification across various aspects, including its effectiveness in curbing youth unemployment.
Plans to commercialize the National Youth Service through the establishment of a National Youth Service Enterprises and the Services Company to act as commercial arm of the NYS, Cabinet Secretary for Public Service Geoffrey Ruku Wednesday told the Senate that the program seeks to fully utilize the institution's resources to increase its revenue, employment, and sustainability.
For many who are not lucky to get opportunities to get jobs, these are the ones now, the new company which we are registering will take advantage of to utilize their skills in construction, those who are trained in construction, those who are trained in agriculture.
Currently, the government trains 18,000 youth annually at a budget of 10 billion. The target is, however, to raise the numbers to 100,000. CS Ruku says the institution has limited funds and hence the commercialization will fill the gap by raising approximately 4 billion annually.
National service has fast run in different parts of the country, and most of the land is not utilized. And that's why we are coming in with a limited company, so that commercial activities, commercial farming activities can take place.
Senators, however, questioned the justification in commercializing the institution.
Nakumbuka miaka ya 80 na miaka 90 walikuwa wanafanya biashara ya transport, mabasi ya National Youth Service. Na baada ya muda mabasi yale yalisimama na serikali ikawa imepata hasara kubwa. Kwa hivyo sio mara ya kwanza kwamba ni jambo jipya lilifanyika, na je, wizara imejifunza kutokana na makosa yale yaliyotokea?
Totally different business model. It is not the model which was implemented those years of transportation or buses and other business which maybe National Service is trying to do. It's a completely new way of thinking, is a complete paradigm shift.
Concerns around the viability of the program were also raised, especially around accommodating the thousands of youth in the job market.
As the CS look at the revenue streams for that product, because we don't want a situation whereby a company is going to be formed to do everything in this country, to grow ash avocado, to go and grow sugarcane.
The company will implement business plans on mechanization, construction, agriculture, agro-processing, textile and garment production, hospitality, as well as security services, Mr. Speaker.
The registration of the company is currently at the Attorney General's office.
Now, the government has been called upon to put in place strong mechanisms to strengthen the public education sector. According to stakeholders in the education sector, public education has been threatened by the influx of private schools and inadequate investment in public education, with some areas lacking even a single public school.
During the first convening on the privatization of education in Kenya by the East Africa Center for Human Rights, stakeholders in various sectors and learners questioned whether the thriving private sector education is an opportunity or threat.
It's about their right to education.
The learners in attendance called on the government to invest more in education to ensure each learner has access to affordable and inclusive education.
Our parents are already doing their best, but they cannot do it alone. Education is our right, and it is the government's duty to make sure we get it.
Build more public schools, equip them and staff them well. End corruption, end the ghost learners and ghost schools.
When you invest in us, you invest in peace, in dreams, in justice, in our nation's growth. So let the public education work.
Education is the greatest equalizer. It narrows the gap between the rich and the poor.
Concerns were also raised over the distribution of public schools to bring education closer to the learners.
In Mathare, particularly in Mabatini and Gay wards, there is no single public school. So I ask again, who should we turn to for a public school in Mathare?
To address these bottlenecks, the government has been urged to invest more in public education, disburse capitation on time, and ensure learners with special needs have proper resources and personnel in their units.
We need public schools, inclusive education with specialized teaching and learning materials and equipment.
Learners who are blind have been receiving their learning materials late, a year late when it comes to textbooks. This is something that has been really affecting them. You can imagine now the learners have done exam, not having finished the curriculum.
You need to plan accurately so that capitation does not go to school, a school of 500 children, and the capitation reaches for only 300 children.
Regulation of private education sector did not go without mention.
People have privatized education and made it very expensive. We have people in universities who are dropping out en masse because their parents cannot be able to afford education.
If there is no regulation of private actors and the way mushrooming of schools are coming up, then we'll be jeopardizing the quality of education we have.
Now, the Attorney General has filed an application urging the court to set aside Monday's decision by the Constitutional Division of the High Court that stopped the National Police Service from recruiting police officers on the 17th November 2025. The Chief Government Counsel argues that the National Police Service has already deployed resources for the recruitment exercise.
The Attorney General in application argues that there is a pending general election in 2027, which needs heavy security and time is needed to train the recruited officers, among other issues. The Chief Government Counsel wants the court to issue orders allowing the Inspector General of Police and the National Police Service to go ahead with the exercise, which is scheduled for next Monday. Elsewhere, former Kilome MP John Harun Mwau was denied being a director of Pepe International Limited, a company that was linked with cocaine valued at 6 billion shillings.
Plaintiff does not own Pepe Inland Container Terminal, nor is he aware of any goods bound for the said terminal, which were seized in Mombasa in a massive security raid.
Appearing before Professor Justice Nixon Sifuna, Mwau testified he is a shareholder of a company trading as Pepe Limited.
Inland Container Depot. I do not know about it. I am total stranger.
He told the judge that the article published by Nation Media Group 21 years ago, linking him to the importation of cocaine, has tainted his reputation as a leader.
Lord, the effect of this statement is that the publisher when they were linking me with the drug haul at Pepe International Container, whatever, it was not true.
The matter will proceed on 16th January 2026. And several bags of copper cables valued at 1.6 million shillings were produced in court on Wednesday as prosecution evidence in a case where a woman has been charged with handling stolen energy equipment.
This is used by Kentraco.
The ones are thick.
Yes, thick.
And they're usually used by
Kentraco for the high voltage transmission line.
Okay.
Yes, you are.
The investigating officer Nicholas Solesena told the court that they recovered items including high voltage copper cables and components from Safaricom, Ketraco and American Telecommunications, and that the accused Sheila Chao Moikasi had no registration certificate as required by law.
Your Honor, this gunning is labeled as, this were labeled Kenha, and these are the materials belonging to Kenha.
Kenha has only one gun bag?
Yes, just only one gun bag.
However, during cross-examination by the defense team, Olesina stated there was no direct documentation linking the recovered items to Ketraco. Trial Magistrate Robinson Ondieki will deliver a ruling on November 17th, 2025.
Now, nominated Senator Crystal Asige is challenging the media to play a stronger role in promoting inclusivity under the newly enacted Persons with Disabilities Act 2025. The senator spoke during a media roundtable in Nairobi, where she highlighted key provisions of the law and called for fair representation of persons with disabilities.
For a very long time, the disability fraternity has questioned the rationale behind subjecting us with permanent disabilities to periodic reassessment. It begs the question, why should someone diagnosed with a chronic condition such as epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, or with permanent disabilities such as spina bifida, deafness, blindness, or deaf blindness, which is both, how can they continue to prove that they're still disabled? These conditions are permanent, right? How much more indignity and humiliation does our government want us to endure? Do you know that to undergo reassessment every 5 years and secure a certificate is only targeted at us, PWDs, and therefore ends up being a form of discrimination, actually?
Now, Homa Bay Town Legislator Peter Kaluma is calling on the Senate to expedite the passage of Assisted Reproductive Technology Bill passed on Tuesday in the National Assembly. Addressing the media in Parliament buildings, Kaluma also urged the Senate to ensure that the pillars and columns instituted by the National Assembly to prohibit commercial surrogacy and to protect the children born through assisted reproductive technology in the country from dangers of organ harvesting.
We will, of course, again amend them, which will risk sending the bill to mediation where it may be lost. I want to ask that we don't do anything that is unprincipled, that may secure that this law is lost. The law, as is now, is good.
Red Cross divers in Nyahururu have recovered the body of a 41-year-old fisherman who drowned in Limunge Dam in Laikipia County. Bugwakiere is believed to have drowned on Monday afternoon while, of course, setting fishing nets. Details of these and more stories are in the county's wrap.
After pleading for help in recovering his body, the family of Mbogwa Kiarie can finally begin his final send-off. Kiarie's body was retrieved by the Red Cross days after a fishing expedition turned fatal.
Red Cross yetu wametusaidia na mwili wa kijana wetu Mbogwa Kiarie imeweza kupatikana vile alikufa kwa hii demu.
Sasa tunaomba hii kwa demu tusaidiwe, tusafisiwe hii demu.
In Loitoktok, Kajiado South, residents are urging the Kenya National Highways Authority to install speed bumps along the Loitoktok-Emali Road to reduce rising accidents.
Kwa ukweli imekuwa huzuni, tumepoteza watu wa maana, tumepoteza mwimbaji ambayo alikuwa mwimbaji wa maana sana, kijana mdogo ameacha familia. Tumepoteza kiongozi wetu ambaye ni Emmanuel Mayani, ameacha watoto wadogo.
Elsewhere, health experts are calling for stronger partnerships between the government and private organizations to expand healthcare services in rural Kenya.
We really want to thank the community for turning up, because it is an opportunity for them to be screened, and then they get to know their health challenges, and then they seek interventions in this camp and also maybe later to follow up for their follow-up care.
Finally, Kenya has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening Africa's medical regulation framework under the Africa Medicines Agency. Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale, while speaking at a scientific conference in Mombasa, said harmonizing medical regulations across the continent is key for Africa to achieve health independence and cut reliance on imported medicines.
We must move decisively from being primary importers to becoming reliable producers of vaccines, diagnostics, devices, and many others at quality, at scale, and on time. The master key to this shift is regulatory harmonization.
Now, Kenya has unveiled a new artificial intelligence skills program in partnership with Google, targeting students and institutions of higher learning as part of efforts to build a workforce ready for the digital economy. Information Communications and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary William Kabogo says the initiative will offer students 12 months of free access to the Google Gemini Pro plan, which offers advanced AI learning tools such as Deep Research and Notebook LM.
Information, Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary William Kabogo has challenged students in institutions of higher learning to pursue courses on artificial intelligence to complement their careers. Kabogo says the new AI skills program aims to align education with Kenya's goal of achieving 100% digital service delivery by, among others, leveraging artificial intelligence to boost productivity, attract investment, and accelerate transition to a knowledge-based economy.
We have a program in the ministry to hire 47 AI experts. And I'm hoping that from this program, at some point, we should be able to get these 47, one every county, to be an AI expert to help us train those that are in the villages, because we are planning to have 1,450 digital hubs.
The resources are designed to support academic excellence and encourage independent exploration.
We incorporate government and make sure that we learn and grow together.
At the Ministry of Education, through the State Department for Higher Education, we are committed to building an education system that nurtures digital skills, creativity, and problem-solving abilities.
They underscored the urgent need to address the skill gap and integrate AI literacy across all learning demographics.
Google Gemini communicated and implemented by every university in every part of this country, because we think the model that we are providing for the students is one of the industry-leading models.
Now, the Kenya Bureau of Standards has defended its decision to increase the standards levy paid by manufacturers by 10 times to 4 million shillings, noting that the adjustment was necessitated by inflation and the need for modern testing infrastructure. Here is Benson Rieba with the details.
The Kenya Bureau of Standards revised its standards levy upwards 10 times from 400,000 shillings to 4 million shillings despite protests from some manufacturers. The Kenya Bureau of Standards say it has only reviewed the minimum and maximum caps to reflect the prevailing conditions, and that manufacturers will still have to pay 0.2% of their total annual net turnover.
The first and the only time we actually introduced untouched standard levy in terms of the revenue to be levied was in 1990. So you can imagine between 1990 to 2025, that's a good 35 years.
Manufacturers making a net turnover of less than 5 million shillings will be exempted from the levy, as opposed to the previous order where all manufacturers are to pay 12,000 shillings annually.
For any manufacturer. But under the new levy order, we have revised that to say if you make a revenue of up to 5 million shillings, an annual turnover up to 5 million shillings, you don't pay anything. Over 5 million is when you pay at 0.2%, subject to up to a maximum of 4 million shillings per year.
The Kenya Bureau of Standards say the revision will see over 35,000 small manufacturers exempted from the levy.
35,000 businesses will fall out of bracket and therefore benefit from this exemption.
The Kenya Bureau of Standards say proceeds from the increase in maximum cap of the standards levy will fund the setting up of modern testing infrastructure.
The infrastructure required to be able to set up facilities like, for example, for testing, for calibration, and the infrastructure development required to be able to protect Kenyans, and again to facilitate trade in all the 48 counties in this country. It is, the equipments are expensive, those infrastructure are expensive.
Now, Kenya and Burundi are strengthening their collaboration in digital finance to boost the productivity of micro, small and medium-sized enterprises. Burundi's ambassador to Kenya, Ntahonkurie Emanse, says her country is seeking to harness Kenya's leadership in financial technology to expand access to finance for artisans and small businesses in Burundi. Here is Regina Manyara with the details.
Kenya's exports to Burundi were valued at $56.2 million in 2024, according to data from UN Comtrade. To boost trade, the two countries are rooting for integration of financial technology to expand access to finance for artisans and small businesses.
There are several strategies that can be used to increase the competitiveness of MSMEs, namely digitalization, product and service innovation, business process innovation, and marketing and sales innovation.
The partnership also seeks to support the digital and green transformation of small enterprises through digital tools, while adopting renewable energy and sustainable production methods to qualify for emerging green finance.
Beyond these strategies, the importance of several supporting factors, such as government support, access to financial resources, networking, and collaboration opportunities are of paramount importance.
What is the volume, what's the capacity of all these people combined? It's a multi-billion business here, and yet they call it small.
Both countries are further calling for enhanced transport infrastructure and logistics connectivity to lower freight costs, ease movement of goods, and expand regional market access for MSMEs.
Long live MSMEs development in the EAC. Long live the collaboration between EAC member states. Long live regional cooperation. I thank you.
As exhibitors continue to have conversations in the 25th EAC MSME exhibition on Burundi Day, entrepreneurs as well as government officials drawn from Burundi said that they were ready to leverage on Kenya's advanced technological know-how in their financial services to improve trade not only within their country but within the East African community. I'm Regina Manyara reporting for KBC Channel 1 from Uhuru Gardens.
Now we transition to sports. Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya has reaffirmed that the government will fully support the national Deaflympics team, which will feature in this year's quadrennial sport event, which will start this Saturday with an opening ceremony at the Tokyo Metropolitan Gymnasium. In a statement shared by the Ministry of Sports, Mvurya has rallied Kenyans to support the team, with the second batch expected to travel tonight, followed by the final group on Thursday. While the Tokyo Deaflympics will feature 21 sports disciplines, Kenya will compete in 5: athletics, women's basketball, men's handball, golf, and swimming. The Tokyo Deaflympics will mark Kenya's 8th appearance in the game since its debut at the 1997 edition in Copenhagen, Denmark.
I'm really seeking you that when you go out there, put your effort. I know your coaches have done their work. We have done our work as a government by facilitating and supporting you. Now what remains is you to go and compete.
That's all we had for you for news for now. But before we go, we have our news diary, or rather reporter's diary. And this is what you are expecting today, that President William Ruto still remains in Ukambani region for a second day. Yesterday he was in Makueni County, and today he is in Kitui County, expected of course to commission construction of roads, bridges, rural connectivity, and so far. He's there for 4-day working tour. And of course, tomorrow he's also expected in Machakos County, where he'll be completing his working tour. And of course, secondly, is that we're also following on the East African Community Trade Fair. This is heavily focusing on MSMEs, that is ongoing at the Uhuru Gardens in Nairobi. And of course, KBC Channel 1 is bringing you that live coverage whenever it begins. And of course, we also received yesterday night news of death of Isiolo South Member of Parliament, one Mohammed Tubi, who is said to have succumbed after a long illnesses. Of course, the president has eulogized, among many other dignitaries, they have eulogized the Member of Parliament as a dedicated public servant and a passionate advocate for education who believed in empowering communities through knowledge and opportunities. Of course, we're expecting so much messages of condolences as we move into the day. And of course, that's where we end. But before I let you go, we have also been following on the petition, or rather the appeal by the Attorney General and, of course, one petitioner called Mwau, opposing the orders of the High Court that is halting National Police Service from recruiting the police on 17th of November. Let's see how that transpires. And of course, I now let you, of course, I hand you over to the next part of the show, that is Entertainment Thursday. On the other side of the studio, we have Vivian Degwa. Bye-bye for now.
And there we have it. This is Entertainment Thursday right here on Good Morning Kenya. It's a beautiful, beautiful Thursday morning, and we are about to ensure that you have an amazing, amazing, amazing Thursday. Now, Giverson Maina has put us up to speed with everything that has been happening, matters, the news, kini sasa namuona hapa, you know, and by the way, I think si leo ndo ile siku ulikuwa promise we're doing the whole show together. So why do you still have the tie on? Why do you still have the tie on?
I don't know, but
we're doing this show together today.
But I think, I don't know.
Yes, no, we're doing this show today.
I'm not sure. I think I promised next Thursday.
No.
I said next Thursday.
Next Thursday,
I will not. Siko specific today. Nilikuwa nimesema next.
Next. So next can be.
I think it's the next one. Next week. I promise.
Okay. But you know, you can just loosen that tie and keep it aside and take off the jacket, and then we just
the jacket
we do the show.
The jacket too?
Yeah.
Oh, so that would be difficult kidogo. Niko na mavitu mawaya, nimebeba mavitu huku nyuma.
It's okay. Then next Thursday it is. Next Thursday it is. I hold you accountable to that.
I promise.
All right.
Next Thursday.
All right.
Indio my stronghold though. Stronghold.
You keep saying that, but you don't want us to do the show.
Huko nilikuwa part time. Side hustle.
How are you though?
I'm doing well.
You're well.
I'm doing well. I think it's a good Thursday. Today I'm actually off work, so I have a lot of friends to catch up, things to do, you know, go some swimming kidogo, you know, go some workout kidogo.
Okay.
Leo ndio Saturday yangu.
Leo
sasa niko weekend.
Very
because sasa weekend yako mimi nitakuwa wax.
Okay, so now this is your weekend.
This is my weekend.
But you're not too far from it, because we usually say that our Thursday just ushers in the weekend. So sisi tumekusha kuanzisha weekend.
Lakini hata tukikuwa job, sherehe lazima.
Sherehe lazima.
Tumeanza, sisi tumeanza. Lazima tumalizie.
Elijah,
yes.
What's up?
What's up?
It's Cosmic the DJ.
It's Cosmic the DJ. You're giving out my government name.
I know.
Now they know.
I'm sorry. How are you, Cosmic?
And the DJ is sweating.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hot. I think it's hot. It's a hot Thursday.
It's the mix. The mix is hot. Inanichoma mimi mwenyewe.
Unachomeka bro.
Nachomeka.
Hey bro.
So atoe toa sweater, atoe koti, toa tie to dance.
I think Vivian angekwambia you are hot. That's why.
He's literally, feeling the heat.
I'm feeling the heat.
Yeah. Otherwise, what should we be expecting on the mix today?
Today it's a Thursday, so it's Throwback Thursdays. So all millennials, this is for you. Acha tufundisha majenzi vile ngoma zetu zilikuwa kitambo.
Alright. Wamesema wazee hukumbuka.
Wazee hukumbuka.
Relax tuwafunze. Relax.
Wa chill tu.
Yeah, anytime yetu.
Sisi tunawapeleka na mtaratara as they usually say.
Of course.
You are in the right place. You know that this is where you get to enjoy yourselves, matters, entertainment, and you've heard it from the team. We are expecting nothing but fire. Good vibes. Good vibes and inshallah, as they say. So do not touch that dial. We are going to be having great mixes from the DJ, throwback music, and then we also have guests who are going to be here with us that you want to get to listen to the amazing, amazing stories. You do not want to go anywhere. Give us on. Goodbye.
Thank you.
For today.
For kicking me out.
Next week.
When you're starting the entertainment.
No, but you
it's fine. No, it's okay.
I actually requested and asked you to just stay, but you said no next.
Next Thursday, I'll be here with my shorts and my t-shirts.
Nitawacha. If you know, you know.
I'll be here.
Anyway, guys, don't go too far. Enjoy this musical break. We'll be back in a bit. And before we get back to the music and get to enjoy some throwback music, allow me to hand you over to our reporter Trevor Ngendo. Trevor Ngendo is on standby live on the matter of the last mile connectivity mashinani, and he's there and he'll be giving us a couple of interviews. Trevor, if you can hear me, good morning, and how is everything happening wherever you are at, in Kitui that is?
A very good morning to you, Vivian, at the broadcasting house. We are in Kikieni sub-location in Mwingi West constituency, here specifically at Kwasiku. Here we say Wamukata. It's a very chilly morning here in Kitui County, but we're here ahead of the head of state's visit to commission a road here from Kibwezi to Mbondoni. Not just that, but also to commission last mile connectivity by REREC, also known as the Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation, whose mandate is to ensure there is last mile connectivity here. And just to bring you up to speed with some of what the REREC has done, it's continuing to intensify efforts to expand electricity access across Kitui County as part of its nationwide plan to boost rural connectivity and renewable energy use. This year alone, REREC has prioritized scaling up last mile connectivity and within markets, powering schools and the agencies to try and align the agency's goals with Kenya's target of achieving renewable energy use, 100% renewable energy use by the year 2030. According to data from the government and from the area MP, Mr. Charles Nguna, whom we spoke to yesterday, the area has been allocated up to 2.3 billion shillings. The county itself has been allocated 2.3 billion shillings for electrification projects, and right here they're targeting to increase up to 1,500 homes have been connected, with 174 more expected to be commissioned today and connected to the last mile connectivity. So so far the number of projects that are ongoing here in details that we'll show you later. We took a trip around here yesterday night where we saw several homes that were connected to electricity, and we were able to see how they looked like before they got connected, and now how it looked after connection within schools, and also the street lights around this area in pictures that you'll be seeing much later in our bulletins today. But for now, allow me to engage the area Assistant Chief, Mr. Cornelius, whom I'll bring on board here to share more details in regards to what is happening here. Asante sana, karibu sana, Mr. Cornelius Kimanzi.
Asante sana.
We appreciate that you're here today. Maybe you can begin by introducing yourself, the area that you represent, and tell us more about, you can start by telling us about the rural electrification projects that we are seeing here.
Asante, mimi ni Area Assistant Chief, naitwa Cornelius Kimanzi. Hapa ni Kikieni sub-location, Zauni location. Hapa tumeweza kufaidika na mradi wa stima ambao umeweza kufaidi over 170 household within Kikieni na Kitaalani, shule Kitaalani primary na Kikieni primary pia wameweza kufaidika kupitia mradi huu ambao ni wa stima. Tunashukuru.
All right. Jana MP alituambia kwamba ni mradi ambao all right. The area MP yesterday told us about it's a joint project costing about 15 billion at the NGCDF, as well as other that to complement what REREC has invested here to do the last mile connectivity. Lakini tuongee na bwana Assistant Chief, Rais leo anakuja mahali hapa, labda inamaanisha nini haswa kwa wakazi wa eneo hili ambao kwa muda mwingi sana naweza kuwa wamesemekana wamewachwa nyuma katika maendeleo hapa?
Cha kwanza nishukuru sana kwa sababu ya mpango ambao rais ameweza kupanga wa kututembelea. Sisi kama Migwani sub-county hapa Kikieni tunajivunia na tunamkaribisha sana. Ni mpango ambao umeweza kufurahisha wananchi wa maeneo haya, na mimi najua kwamba watu wengi wamefurahi na wamejitokeza ili kuja kushangilia, kwa sababu ni jambo la busara sana. Kwa muda mwingi tumeweza kuteseka kwa sababu tumekaa kwenye giza, watu hawezi kuona runinga, lakini sasa hivi Bwana Rais amefanya mpango wa busara kabisa, kwa sababu ni jambo ambalo limeweza kufaidi boma nyingi na watu wanafurahia. Kwa hivyo we are really grateful to His Excellency. Asante sana.
Labda tukitumia fursa hii, ni mambo gani pengine ambayo ni ya muhimu sana ambayo ungependa pengine national government iweze kutekeleza ili kusaidia wakazi wa eneo hili?
Nianze kwa kusema kwamba barabara ni mojawapo ya mradi ambao umeweza kutusaidia, na kuna baadhi ya barabara zingine kama barabara inayotoka hapa ikielekea upande wa Kanya, hizo side. Tungeomba serikali kama pia inaweza kuangalia hayo mambo, tunaweza kushukuru. Pia maji maeneo haya ni mojawapo ya mradi ambao wananchi wangependa sana ili iweze kushughulikiwa. Tutashukuru sana.
Naam, asante sana Bwana Assistant Chief. Tunashukuru sana kwa muda wako. Niruhusu nimlete mkazi mmoja wa eneo hili. Asante Bwana Chief. Tafadhali tuanzie kwa kutuambia jina lako na utuambie wewe, tunaarifiwa kwamba ni mara ya kwanza tunaona maendeleo haya eneo hili. Labda uanze kwa kutuambia jina lako na utuambie umeona maendeleo gani wewe binafsi kama mkazi wa eneo hili.
Asante sana. Kwa majina yangu ni Fred Mwazia Ndemwa. Mimi ni mkaaji wa Kikieni na nimeshukuru sana kwa hii mradi ya stima. Tumeona tumefaidika sana kwa sababu iko na mambo mingi. Hata kuna ile mambo ya kuchanji simu, kuna ile mambo ingine ya hapa na pale kwa nyumba, iko na matumizi mingi kwa nyumba hiyo stima. Kwa hiyo hapo tumeshukuru sana.
Asante sana. Tunashukuru sana kwa muda wako. Asante sana. All right, Vivian, this is what we have here for now. It's a little bit very busy. The trucks you're seeing here are part of the road construction that's ongoing here. The head of state will be commissioning the road from Kibwezi connecting to Mbondoni, and that is why we are here, as well as the commissioning of the last mile connectivity here by REREC, the renewable, the Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation. We want to wind it up from right now. From here, we hand it over back to you as we also interact with locals, and we'll bring you more details in the course of the day. Back to you, Vivi.
Decided to take us back to church. Beautiful, beautiful mix right there from Cosmic, the DJ. Right about now, allow us to get into our first interview right here on Entertainment Thursday. And as promised earlier, we will be having a beauty queen. That's what I had promised earlier. Now she's already here, so we are having a beauty queen. She's seated right next to me. She is the current Miss Earth Kenya 2025, right? And that is none other than Esther Princess Mokoya. Princess, yes. How are you?
I'm very fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I love that crown.
Oh, I love it too.
It's so sparkly and just, you know, it just
dazzling.
sits so well. It's dazzling. I love it, love it, love it.
Thank you.
Your name is actually Princess.
Yes, it is.
That's
My
your
maiden
government name.
Princess.
Nani
Yes.
atanisaidia na ID yake?
Kama tutakimbia pale kwa gate kidogo.
Tuangalie.
Yes.
Welcome to the program. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. It's my honor.
For those who are seeing you for the very first time, I want to give you the opportunity to just introduce yourself. You know, that's your camera.
Okay. So my name is Esther Princess Mokoya. I'm the current Miss Earth Kenya 2025. I am a sustainable fashion advocate, which is the very reason I chose to compete in Miss Earth in the first place, because sustainability and fashion is the two main passions that I have. And I have seen how detrimenting the fashion industry is to the environment, which is why I basically chose to become a sustainable fashion advocate.
I love that. Yes. I love that because last week we had an interview, and we had an interview with the founders of Eco Fashion Week Africa, and that is what they're also just championing, you know, sustainable fashion. Why is it so important for us to now, you know, have a say on that, and also get to concentrate on the fashion that we are consuming, and that it needs to be slow and it needs to be sustainable fashion? Why now? And what do you think, you know, is making it now become a conversation that maybe was not as much had in the past?
So a few months back, I came across the fact that there is enough clothes to clothe the next 6 generations. When you imagine us, our children, our children's children, even our great-great-grandchildren, there are enough clothes to clothe them.
At the moment, you already have enough to clothe the next...
Yes.
Up to the 6th generation.
Yes. And you can imagine production hasn't stopped. Production is still ongoing. So you can imagine the amount of clothes being produced daily. In about a year, how many clothes, how much clothes will we have in existence? And you have to ask yourself, where are all these clothes going? You know? And for most of them, because they're being produced through the fast fashion industry, which uses very unethical production means, the materials that are being used are not even sustainable in the first place. So these clothes are not being degraded. So they're just there lying in waste. Materials such as polyester, they take 10,000 years to decompose. So it is now that we should become more serious. This is a call to action, because if we do not take action right now, then this will be a very, very serious issue in years to come.
And I love that this is coming from a model. You know, as models, we know that you love fashion, you know, the glam, the glitz, that's what we know models for. And the fact that you're now talking about, you know, us consuming fashion the right way. And I agree with you, because textile is one of the biggest, or the largest rather, the largest pollution. You know, in the entire world, textile is causing a lot of pollution.
It is actually the second largest polluter.
Yes, second largest polluter in the entire world.
In the entire
Let's
world.
get back to that. Let's take a break. And we're back. Thank you for staying with us. We continue with this conversation that we were having with the reigning Miss Earth Kenya 2025. Her name is Esther Princess. And we were just talking about how, you know, polluting fashion is. And you had actually told me that it is the second largest or second most polluting in the entire world. So it's a conversation that should be had. And I love that that's your passion project, because for every now model you need to have like a passion project. So is that your passion project?
Yes, it is. Sustainable fashion is my advocacy, because I believe that it is where I start. You know, they say charity starts at home. So if there's a problem in the fashion industry, the one that I do love and the one that I'm actively in, then I believe that that is the first place I should start with my advocacy.
How has it been so far?
Well, with my advocacy, or with my...
with advocacy, and how are you going about it?
Okay, so far I have been doing it, my advocacy is done through my initiative, my Less is More initiative, and it champions sustainable fashion through 3 pillars: education, production, and waste management. So through the education pillar, I basically raise awareness to people, because we are the ones who consume this fashion. So if I change the habits of the people who consume this fashion, then I can create a balance that reduces the demand for fast fashion. So I do this through encouraging thrifting, upcycling, and swapping of clothes, just to make sure that I elongate the lifespan of clothes. This habit of wearing a dress one time and you're like, nishapiga picha, I don't want it anymore.
That's exactly how
that's exactly how people do it, because uko like, I've already worn this outfit, I don't want it again. So I basically try to birth the concept that you can make way more out of the outfits that you already have, instead of going out each time to try and get more. So that is basically where I have been, and I want to grow further into the production space. I want to challenge the means of production that is not ethical, the production processes that contribute to fast fashion.
Yeah. How easy will it be for us to get to a point where now we are actually speaking sustainable fashion, not just speaking, like the type of clothes we are wearing, the kind of production that takes place? How far are we, just as a country?
I believe we have a long way to go, a long way to go. You know, in as much as we encourage thrifting and upcycling and all these other measures, they are in the reactive side. Not, we are reacting to something that is already done instead of preventing it. So in the long run, what I aim to do is change the story from the production side, because much of this problem that we have in Kenya with the second-hand industry is because of the clothes that are being imported. Do you know that Kenya is the second largest importer of, not second, it's currently the largest. It was the second largest after Nigeria, but it's currently the largest importer of second-hand clothes in Africa. So you can imagine it's like a dump site for second-hand clothes. And 30 to 40% of these clothes end up directly in landfills and dump sites. You know the Dandora dump site? Yes. So if we can prevent or basically do a quality control of these clothes that are coming in, then that's somewhere to start.
All right. Okay. Now let's get to know Princess as the model that she is. I want you to take me back to a time when you first experienced modeling, you first experienced pageantry. Take me back to that time. How old were you? What introduced you to pageantry and all of that?
You know, it's funny because growing up, I was very bullied. I was bullied a lot because of my height. Yes. I was being a tall girl in Kenya is not for the weak. Oh my God.
What
and you know how
do
children
we
do not
have to say when you say that being tall, you get bullied for being tall?
Because we are bullied because society standards wameka that girls are not supposed to be tall. You're supposed to be short and you're supposed to fit in, because even when you're looking for your significant other, you're supposed to look at him like this. And
I think there's no standard really, because even for us short girls, we get bullied for being short all the time. And then for you being tall,
it's the double standards for me, right?
It's the double standard. I mean, who sets this standard? Just exists.
It's really sad. So growing up, it didn't really cross my mind. Even in high school, when they were having the Miss, I was in Machakos Girls. So when they were having the Miss for Miss Machakos, it didn't even cross my mind see we go and compete. Even in campus, it didn't cross my mind until 2020. I was like, why haven't I modeled? I'm leaving campus and I haven't done anything. See, I try this. So that was when it first crossed my mind, and I set my mind to compete for Miss St. Paul's. That was where I studied for university. But then Rona happened, so I had to postpone to 2021. That was my first pageant in 2021, Miss St. Paul. I didn't place. I thought I had a very good walk. Hey. So when I look at those videos, I'm like, gosh.
You were just bouncing.
Wow, my God. Yeah. But that is where it started. I had my second pageant in 2022. I won it, Miss Wave 360. That was my first crown, my first title. And from there, basically, I just started exploring pageants. And I became on a serious level. It was more of fun back in 2023. But after 2023, when I came back to the modeling industry, because I took a very long break, I had a very bad mental health year in 2023. So I took a long break from pageantry and modeling as a whole. And I came back in 2025. So when I came back, I had a very clear roadmap of what I want to do, which pageants I want to compete in, which runways I want to be in. And I started training seriously. I trained first at Second Option Agency. Then I joined Aspire Models just to train, because I had reached a point where I'm not just basically randomly joining pageants. I know what I want, and I have a roadmap of how I want to get there. Yes, so that is where I currently am, which is why I'm sort of graduating into the coaching space. Because if I had a mentor or someone to hold my hand back then, I would have been so much further than I am right now. So I want to be that person for the younger me who didn't have someone to bring them up and coach them in the modeling space. Because when you have a mentor to hold your hand, to show you this is what you're supposed to do, to guide you on the means and measures that you can take to basically put yourself out there, you'd be much further than you are. Yeah.
I want to take you back a bit, you know, where you talked about you taking a hiatus, a long hiatus, because you were dealing with your mental state wasn't in the right place. If you're open to talk about it, did it have anything to do with pageantry? Did it have anything to do with the modeling space?
Not really, not really. It wasn't, the foundation of why I was struggling mentally wasn't in modeling, but modeling comes with a lot of pressure.
I can imagine, and I want us to talk about that, because most times when we see you beauty queens, we just assume it's the glitz and glam, as I had mentioned earlier. We just assume it's just you looking dazzling all through, and we don't really get to see the behind the scenes of the work that you get to put in. So tell me about the challenges of, you know, being in that space.
Well, the modeling industry comes with a lot of pressure, because it's basically split into different types of modeling. There's pageantry, there's runway, there's editorial, commercial, and mostly I've done pageantry. I can't speak for the other types, but I do believe that pageantry has the most pressure, because for you to put yourself out there, you're being scrutinized. It's like you're putting yourself on a platform, and everyone is like free to poke you wherever they want.
Has an opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for the pressure that comes with having to measure up, you have to be right, you have to know how to do your makeup, have to do your hair, you have to have designers, photographers. That was one of the challenges that I had when I was starting, actually.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to do my makeup, first thing. I was a student, I didn't have a source of income. So even when you're going for these pageants, the amount of investing you have to do, a dinner dress, a decent dinner dress is not worth less than 4K, even for hiring. So I think that is one of the biggest challenges that models face, actually, because most of them are students, most of them are not working. So to have a means of supporting your journey is not that easy. Even when you want to build a social media presence, you have to invest in makeup artists, photographers, outfits themselves. It's not easy.
Yeah,
it's
nowadays social media, it's more, it's moving more on the reels, so you need a videographer who can be doing those reels.
So you can imagine all that, and you don't have a source of income, and you still have to balance with your studies. It's not like you're like, I'm a model, I don't need my studies anymore. You get, because even me, most of the models have their degrees, because even you see most models work that age that they're in campus. For me, I started a bit later, but most of them are in campus. To say 19 to 25 there. Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's talk about the crown that you're having on, you know. That's the Miss Earth crown. Tell me about what that crown means to you. And I also know that you got to represent Kenya. You came back just the other day, actually on this week, on Mondays, when you landed back in the country. So first of all, let's talk about the crown. What does it mean to you?
First of all, it's very pretty to look at.
But do you say?
It's very, very pretty to look at. But when I look at it, I basically see the little girl who was very insecure about herself. And I see the woman who came out on the other side and conquered. That is what I see for myself. And I see a platform that I can use to empower other young ladies, because a lot of people are struggling with their self-esteem, with their body image. And for me to have taken what was perceived to be my weakness and make it into my greatest strength, that is what I see every time I look at this crown. And I see it as something to help me empower other young ladies, because at the end of the day, it's about the impact and the mark that you leave on other people. Yeah.
How was it like for you just going? You were in the Philippines,
yes,
if I'm not wrong. How was it like just being there? And remember, when you're there, you're not Princess, you're not Esther, you are Kenya. They announce you as Kenya, you know? You were there to represent the country. Yani umebeba nchi nzima hivi kwenye mabega yako. So just, how was that experience like for you?
Actually, when you were there, we didn't even use our names.
Yeah.
You just go, Kenya, where are you? My name was non-existent there. It's just, you're called by your country.
Yeah.
And it's such an honor, by the way, because I used to look at other girls representing Kenya and I was like, oh my God, that is such a dream. And for me to actually have been able to be in the same shoes, it was such an honor. But obviously it comes to the pressure. And without the pressure, you feel the interactions with the other queens, because it was very, very fun. Actually, one of my favorite contestants was Miss Belarus, because when she speaks with that accent, I feel like when you watch those Russian movies, she has a very good accent. And just interacting with other people's culture, with their tendencies, their food, it was a really nice experience. And it had its pros and its cons, because having gone there now, I have the experience. I know what to advise other beauty queens to do and not to do when they are going for their international pageants. For me, one of the most challenging parts was I didn't have a good phone. Hey, yo. I need to get myself an iPhone. That was one of the challenging parts, because I had to take contact with another person's phone. And for them to now, unitumia, na weke HD.
Nangoja 5 business days.
Exactly. So it made me post things a little bit later, which may have been challenging to my social media presence. But apart from that, I feel like it was a good experience.
I love that. I love that. And as we wind up on the conversation, maybe, you know, having gone outside the country to represent Kenya, you know, as a beauty queen, what are some lessons you would say you have learned from that? That maybe someone else who's watching us right now, and that is their dream. Yours came true. They're looking forward to theirs also coming true. What would you tell them?
First of all, I'd tell each and every young girl out there dreaming to represent Kenya, or whatever type of dream it may be, that nothing is impossible. That each and everything you set your mind to, you can achieve. And for each and every model out there going to represent Kenya, I can honestly say that once you're out there, you're carrying Kenya on your shoulders. That you're not there just as yourself. It is not just your dreams, but the dreams of Kenya as a whole. And remember, it may feel pressurizing, it may feel overwhelming. Oh, not it may. It will. It will feel overwhelming and it will feel challenging. What I can tell you is surround yourself with a good support system. I couldn't have done it myself. I had a very strong support system, and that is what helped me to stay strong and to represent Kenya to the best of my ability. So I'd advise you to don't be an island. Surround yourself with the best support system you can get and believe in yourself, and that's literally all it takes.
All right. Thank you so very much for joining us on set this morning. Any future endeavors that we should know about? Ama tungoje?
There's something cooking, but it's not in the time to announce
to speak about it. So it's still in the pipeline.
Yes, but I'll definitely be back if you have me. to talk about it.
Okay, thank you so much for coming to the show, and thank you for representing Team Kenya so beautifully. All right, this is where we end this conversation with Miss Earth Kenya 2025. Her name is Esther Princess Mukoya. And right about now, I want to introduce Culture Connect. And then after that, we'll get back to the music, so don't go too far.
Is no longer just inherited, it's created. From the way they dress to the way they speak, Kenya's Gen Z is redefining the rules, connected to the world and rooted in their identity.
There was a time when culture moved slowly, passed down through elders, ceremonies, and tradition. But that world changed faster than anyone imagined. Where technology blurred boundaries, information became free, transforming Kenya's story from inherited to invented.
Let's explore just how they do this. Hi, Inara. Welcome to Culture Connect. Thank you so much for being here. Today, we need to talk about what exactly goes on in the mind of a Gen Z. We really need to break it down to understand how this affects culture. But first, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Hello, Afrin. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure. I like to say that I'm a jack of all trades and master of psychology. I am currently studying psychology. I'm doing my master's in industrial and organizational psych at the University of Nairobi. I also MC at events. I do poetry, songwriting, and I am also assisting in lecturing. I am really interested in talking about the youth and talking about mental health.
And just to really get into it, from a psychological perspective, what truly defines a Gen Z? What is their mindset compared to maybe the older generation?
When we talk about mindset, I think the first thing that comes in our mind is how we look at how our identity is shaped and formed. So when we look at the older generation, and I'm not talking about everyone, but there are some whose mindset may be formed through fear, through external validation, what we say in psychology, or through obligation, that they have to do something because they have to. There's no other reason. And then you look at the youth, or those from today's generation, and you look at how they view things, and it's more of asking questions, critical thinking, trying to find logic and understanding behind everything. So we look at internal validation more. We look at what brings us and everyone else joy, but we also look at how this particular identity is created through logic. So we believe in change, basically, and that change is okay.
And do you feel that growing up in a digital era has really influenced the identity and mindset of the youth?
100%. I feel that back in the day, we may have been belonging to maybe one community or maybe two, but now you're part of multiple communities. We're looking at our identity through shared culture. We're looking at different cultures, and we are able to understand our identity by experimenting now. Looking at what kind of clothes other people wear, trying to see if it works for us, trying to see different things and how they work for us. So yes, that brings a sense of identity. Sometimes in terms of belongingness, we may not feel that belongingness where we are, but we may find it online by sharing that experience with someone else who may be going through the same things as us. So shared experiences count. However, sometimes there's also issues like cyberbullying, which is a big thing, and that may break someone's self-esteem. So there's always the positive and the negative in everything.
Of course. And why do you think it is that Gen Z values authenticity more than conformity?
So I mentioned internal validation, and I feel that right now the youth feel that life is too short. Life is too short to be anything but yourself. Right now, if they start living everyone else's lives and how everyone else wants them to live, tomorrow they'll be 90 years old. And the people that they conformed to so much might even be dead by then. And then they live with regrets their whole life that I didn't do this and this, right? So autonomy is something that they really value.
Right, right. And Gen Z is very vocal. They're very open, especially about mental health. So do you think their recent trends have really helped break long-held cultural stigmas?
100%. I think the best way to break any stigma, or to even start to break any stigma, is to have a conversation. We are starting the conversations. Or the youth rather, is starting conversations that used to be taboo once upon a time. Now you can see youth are going to therapy. They're using words like boundaries. They're using words like emotional maturity. They're looking at self-reflection and self-awareness. And they're looking at what is good for them or for the mental health and what's not good for the mental health and what can we do about it.
And how is it that Gen Z are balancing modern lifestyles with traditional culture, especially the cultural expectations?
That's actually a very good question. The main thing here is editing, selective editing, or responsible editing rather, where you're looking at what brings you dignity, what brings you honor, what brings you high self-esteem. You keep those things. And what brings you shame, guilt, doubt, edit it out.
That's a good one, actually, in all principles of life, I think. And in your view, is Gen Z redefining culture altogether, or are they really just borrowing from what has previously happened? Or is it a new body all on its own?
So I feel that they're using the soul of the culture. They're keeping that soul of the culture. But then, as I mentioned, the editing, they're removing what brings shame, what brings guilt, what brings doubt, what's not okay for them or for anyone, right? They're breaking that stigma and they're only keeping what is necessary.
Absolutely. Do you think social media really influences the way that Gen Z experiences and expresses themselves online and in day-to-day life?
100%. And when we talk of experiences and expression, we look at shared experiences. We look at how I might be following someone who's 100 miles away from me or 1,000 miles away from me, and how their personality may be something that I'm borrowing influences from. In terms of expression, now we're being more vocal, and social media is one of the platforms that's giving us that chance to be vocal. However, I feel that there has still not been made a big enough platform where we can fully express ourselves without being judged or demeaned.
A lot of people say Gen Z is actually eroding culture. From a psychological perspective, do you think this is true?
See, everything has its pros and its cons, but I think the word eroding would mean erasure, that they're completely removing the culture. And I feel that that's not really the case. What they're doing is they're keeping the culture, they're keeping that soul of the culture, the roots are there, but they're now interrogating. So instead of eroding, I would use the word interrogate, that they're asking what is logical, what is critical. They're using critical thinking to ask questions.
And how do you think pressure from families and communities around Gen Z affects their well-being and the way they operate?
We look at pressure as imposition, is how I look at it. And when you look at imposition, that can lead to rebellion. When you're not given opportunities to express yourselves fully, what happens? It can lead to rebellion. It can lead to anxiety, shame, guilt, and it can also lead to disassociation from your environment, where you no longer feel that sense of belongingness. And that can lead to them not having that sense of identity fully. They don't know who they are because they might have to pretend to be someone they're not.
In what ways do you think Gen Z is challenging traditional gender roles, religion, and societal norms?
I think when it comes to societal norms, we're looking to have harmony, not hierarchy. When it comes to other aspects, we're looking at having compassion instead of fear. And in terms of gender roles, I feel that we're trying to look at a place where we can have harmony and choice, not obligation. Change is something that evolves, with time, and it's something that's happening one conversation at a time. So it's all about starting with understanding each other's perspectives. I feel that there's nothing right or wrong between the older generation and the newer generation. It's not that they were wrong, we are wrong, they are right, we are right. I feel it's all about perspective. Understanding where each other is coming from, meeting in that middle ground. That would help solve a lot of problems.
Absolutely. And speaking about the older generation, as you say, what can parents and educators do to better understand the Gen Z mindset?
Listen, understand, have dialogues, have conversations. Instead of imposing, instead of opposing, converse, talk, learn about each other's perspectives. Why does something matter to someone? And this goes both ways. It's not that, okay, if you're older than me, then it gives you that establishment to be able to disrespect me. I think that's something that the youth are really talking about now. We will both respect each other. We will both listen to each other, understand, have dialogues, and give that autonomy to each other.
Yeah.
And live and let live.
What lessons can older generations learn from how Gen Z approaches culture and change?
I think the biggest thing is that when someone is questioning something, I don't think that they're being disrespectful. If someone is saying no because it's something that's hurting them, they're not being disrespectful per se. I think understanding that perspective and trying to see where someone's coming from is very important.
Yeah, that really reduces conflict and chaos, right?
Even as they move forward, many Gen Z are finding inspiration in the past, reconnecting with ancestral wisdom in new forms.
Culture is a beautiful thing, and we always celebrate our culture in different ways. And it is always a happy moment for everyone in the community. As Gen Zs, we don't have to forget culture. We have to celebrate them to the core.
Okay, my favorite thing about our culture is the clothing, the traditional dances, and the songs, and how the old stories, how our grandpapas and our grandmamas, they tell us about the history, what happened in the past, what we don't know, and all that. So when you listen to the stories and when you view the dances and the songs, actually it's merely it brings something that you'd want to try.
Culture is still obvious, but we youths, we don't take it much serious because we have depended mostly on things to do with the online activities, and we don't have much time to reflect on whatever culture means to us.
Culture is not all about the past. It's about how we are shaping it today. It is a sense of belonging.
Something that I would change about my culture is the beliefs and the norms that limit the freedom of the people, like the ones that limit how women express themselves, the youth and the old people, so that they can have the freedom of expressions.
Just to wrap it up, I'd like to say one small thing for our generation, and that would be that know your story, know your roots, and then you know how to write it from henceforth.
Absolutely, that's really good advice. Today's culture matters because it's not just a youth trend, it's a transformation. The transformation of how Kenya is evolving in its creativity, in its employment, and what it means to belong to the 21st century. I'm Afreen Lalani on Culture Connect. Until next time, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Entertainment Thursday right here on Good Morning Kenya. And right now, I want to hand you over to Kitui, where the president is expected to be commissioning a road right there. And we know that what is happening currently is the last mile connectivity that is taking place in that area, whereby residents are being connected to electricity. These are residents that have not had electricity for the longest time, but finally they are being connected to electricity, and we have those that have already been connected as we speak at the moment, and more are yet to be connected. So right now, if we can just head right over there for that.
A very good morning to you, Vivian, once again, and Wamukata from Kieni sublocation in Mwingi West constituency in Kitui County. We're here to report on matters to do with the rural electrification efforts by the REREC, the Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation, that has intensified its last mile connectivity in this county, and specifically in this region, at a cost of about 2.5 billion shillings that was allocated Kitui County for the implementation of the last mile connectivity. This constituency, which is Mwingi West constituency, has done 15 million shillings from the NGCDF, as we were told earlier by the area MP, Mr. Charles Guna, who has done that to complement what REREC is doing. And that means that more people in this region will be connected to last mile electrification in this area. For many years, they've not had electricity, and this time they're seeing it as a good opportunity to be able to get connected and to experience what others have been experiencing in recent years. For now, I'm joined by the senior engineer from REREC, Senior Engineer Edwin Kamau, who I'll bring on board to share with us what the project really means to these locals and the scope of the project over the period that they've been working on this. Karibu sana, Engineer Edwin Kamau. Maybe you can begin by telling us what has been, maybe just bring us on board on the project and, of course, the scope of work that you've been doing here.
Thank you so very much. Now, as you had earlier alluded, the national government has given REREC and the team for energy, that is Kenya Power, cumulative 2.5 billion to connect about 19,500 customers, new connections. Before REREC came to play, the entire Kitui connectivity was at about 25%, but now we are at 33% connectivity. That's hoping about 8% increase of home connectivity, and also markets and public facilities.
Yes. So in this region, we understand that about seven primary schools or 7 secondary schools and 6 primary schools have been connected to the electricity. Maybe you can tell us about the markets and, of course, even the schools that have been connected here. What have been the challenges, and what has it taken to be able to implement all this here?
Okay, thank you. The main challenge, of course, is the funding. But now, because the national government have come in, we shall be able to do the last mile project. As you had said earlier, the area MP from where we stand has given REREC 15 million. There is a program we call matching program, whereby when the MP gives a shilling, we match with a shilling. Now, because the MP has given us 15 million, we'll match that and combine that and make it a project under the matching fund project.
All right. So you've mentioned that the project is at 33% completion. What would it take probably to scale it to 90%? I understand that we're targeting around 10,000 more connections to be able to achieve about 80 to 90% connectivity. Maybe you can talk to us about that.
No, the numbers you're talking about is when you say about connectivity, we are talking about the entire Kitui. And the entire Kitui is at 33%. To scale that to almost 90 or thereabout, of course you can tell you have achieved 33% for all the years since independence to where we are. But now to scale that up, that's why you're having the last mile connectivity. And hopefully before long, we shall be able to capture mostly the markets and the public facilities.
All right. We understand that now that the president is coming here, maybe you can bring us on board on what exactly he's coming to do in terms of, what is he commissioning? What's how many projects indeed is he commissioning, and how many homes are being connected maybe from today's launch?
From today's launch, we're expecting His Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, to flag off connectivity of 222 ongoing projects. Yes.
All right, 222 projects. All right, engineer, maybe you can mention to us what have been some of the challenges that you faced during this period that you've been connecting power. Maybe, I don't know, what has been the challenges, and maybe in terms of security, you're a stakeholder here, and you obviously know how maybe security has been for you at this area, the connection of the street lights and the connection to schools. Maybe from what you hear on the ground, how has the impact transformed? What has been the impact of this project?
Okay, to start with the challenges we go through when doing the connection, mostly the way of acquisition is one problem, because land is an emotive issue. So while passing through people's parcels of land, it becomes a bit difficult to convince them that we are not taking their land when asking for title deed and stuff. But nowadays, as we are having our team for advocacy, which has been so crucial in educating the masses, and they are responding well. I think the other question was about?
It was on what it means, especially in terms of security in this area.
Oh, now, as you know, when new connectivity comes in, of course, we use copper wires, we use aluminium wires, and of course, vandalism cannot be ruled out. And I can say that so far we've been able to liaise with the county government, and of course we've enhanced the security, and of course educating the masses about the importance of such projects.
All right, engineer, we appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for granting us your time.
Thank you.
We appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
All right, Vivian, there you have it. We understand that the president is about to arrive here. Later on, we'll be bringing you this live coverage from here in Kitui County, specifically at Kwasiku, to be bringing you these live updates from here on the projects. There is also the road that is to be commissioned here. This is a road connecting Kibwezi to Mbondoni that is being commissioned here by the head of state, who will be coming here to commission that alongside the last mile connectivity by REREC. Back to you in studio, Vivian.
Okay, and there you've heard it from Trevor Ng'endo. The president is expected to be there within no time, and he will be launching several things, and including the commissioning of the road that Trevor has just mentioned, as well as the last mile connectivity Mashinani project. And just from what we've gotten to hear from the conversation that Trevor was having, is that they are expecting to at least they're targeting rather at least 10,000 new households that will be connected to electricity. So far, the connectivity that has happened so far is 33%, and this is from 25%. So there is an improvement. And by the time they get to finish the 10,000 more houses being connected, they will have gotten to at least 80% of the connectivity. And just today, the president will be flagging off at least 222 projects that are ongoing. So we will be keeping you up to speed on that. Trevor is on standby, as you have seen, and we'll be getting back to him later on in our subsequent programs right here on KBC Channel 1. Now we are back to Entertainment Thursday. My DJ is on standby, and as you've already seen by now, already gotten to experience by now, he is playing